Hi, Akil here from the Inside Scan, and in today's video I shall be discussing general points you should consider when you're choosing a medical school. So for those who don't know me, my name is Akil. I'm about to start studying medicine at King's College London. So I shall be breaking down this entire session on the UCAS process into a number of separate videos, each highlighting the factors and features I considered whenever I was choosing my medical school choices. So UCAS allows medical applicants to put down 4 out of the 5 choices as medical schools and 1 out of the 5 choices as a non-medicine choice. I shall be doing a video solely on the non-medicine choice in the future, so keep an eye out for it. If possible, I'd recommend going to open days at the medical schools you like. At open days, you'll be able to meet students, teachers and admission staff, so it's a lot easier to answer all the questions you may have right there and then, instead of just playing a game of emailing and calling up and trying to get information that way. I found that the more you went to open days, you picked up on some aspects of the university which you can't get from reading a prospectus or going on the website, and you can use these aspects as well when you're looking at other choices and other open days. So I did not go to many open days, and I really regret it, and it's something which I'd really encourage you to do if you have the opportunity. It isn't cheap, especially if you're from Northern Ireland and you want to study in mainland UK. To fly over or take the ferry or book accommodation, it can rack up, but I feel that it's money well spent. Even if you don't end up going to the university, like which happened with me, I still was able to get valuable information from that experience which I could use when actually shortlisting the choices which I eventually would apply to. With this pandemic, this COVID-19 pandemic, it isn't quite possible to attend all the open days, and a lot of them will be virtual or online, and I'd still encourage you to go. And a lot of universities have made an extra effort to make it a bit more interactive, to try and make up for the fact you can't be there in person. So I recommend attending these, and there's also some careers fairs happening about usually every year, and I know in my former school they used to have one as well. So this is when open day, like universities would bring their admission staff to Belfast or to a school, and they'd have a careers fair that way. This might happen if the situation regarding COVID eases up, so keep an eye out for this as well. That could be the next best thing you can do too. I'd also recommend talking to friends or past students who attend or attended shortlisted medical schools to get additional details or some inside information of what features they may have, other cool things they may offer. And not only will this be good for shortlisting their university, but it will also be good later down the line with interviews where you can justify to the university why did you pick them. It's also key to know what is important to you as a future medical student, or as a future medical student. The entry criteria to most medical schools are usually the same: 2 science subjects, with one of them being chemistry and usually the other one being biology. Apart from the entry criteria, my medical school choices were based on 4 factors: the course structure and teaching style, the location, the university features, as well as the clubs and societies, and the most important factor was the probability of me securing an interview. I felt personally that I could handle interviews well, and I was confident that if I got an interview, I had a good chance of getting an offer from that. So for me, getting that initial interview was key. It's important to note that almost all medical schools, except for a handful, treat your interview performance as the only deciding factor to make you an offer. I'll talk more about medicine interviews in the future and later down the line, so keep an eye out for that as well. All your stats, such as your GCSEs, your predicted grades, your UCAS score, and anything else pre-interview is usually no longer considered, unless on a rare occasion where there is some sort of tie. The main thing about applying for medicine and applying to medical schools is to apply strategically. And this means that applying with your stats, so your prior grades, your UCAS BMAT score in mind. There's no point of you applying to Cambridge if you're not going to be predicted at least A*, which is what their conditional offer is, or you're applying to St George's University of London if you got less than 500 in one of the UCAS subsections. This really would just waste one of your places on the UCAS form, so it's important to just bear your stats and your scores in mind. One thing I would really greatly emphasize is you choose medical schools where you genuinely would not mind studying if you got this offer. It isn't uncommon for many applicants to get only one offer, so you should be willing to go to any one of your choices, because at the end of the day, regardless of where you go to medical school, you will become a doctor out of it, because all the courses are GMC, General Medical Council regulated. So it is very important that you choose a place where you wouldn't mind spending 5 or 6 years of your life. There's little point of you applying to somewhere where if you got an offer, you just wouldn't go. The Medical School Council Medical School Guide will be your best friend during this entire process. This guide is very comprehensive and gives you all the important statistics and details for each of the universities. Medical schools, I felt, were kind of not as open as they could have been about the information and how they use your stats to shortlist for interview and if they mark your personal statement. There's loads of information though online if you know where to look, through prospectuses, websites, admissions related pages, such as the student room. You just have to pore over all this information and you'll be able to unravel valuable data. FOIs, or Freedom of Information Acts, are also really useful to get some historical statistics. I'll put some links to useful websites below which will give some data and information on different medical schools. And basically from all these different websites and sources, I just collated all this data, so the interview to offer ratio, applicant to offer ratio, how they use a UCAS, etc. I just went and created this massive Excel document comparing the statistics for all the 37 UK medical schools, and then I began shortlisting using that data. What I liked about the Excel document was that everything was in one place. I didn't need to keep going to Chrome and switching between tabs. It's all just in that document. So choose a range of medical schools. There isn't there's no such thing necessarily as a safe choice. All the 33 medical schools in the UK, as I said before, are regulated by the GMC. So anyone graduating from any of these medical schools get to learn basically the same curriculum, and on graduation are treated the same way. So it's regardless where you go, as I said, you will become a doctor. However, it's important to make your choices spread out over a range. So what do I mean by this? I mean that choose at least one relatively less competitive choice where you feel you're very likely to get an interview, 1 or 2 middle tier choices where you feel you're likely to get an interview, and 1 aspirational choice where you feel you have a fair chance to get an interview. And basically, if you got an interview with your UCAS score and your prior grades, it isn't unheard of, or it isn't rare. But remember the golden rule: you will be happy to study at any of your choices, including your least preferred choice, if that was the only offer you got. Thanks very much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe below, and keep an eye out for the other videos in this Choosing a Medical School series. Thanks very much, and best of luck with your application.